What the hell are we supposed to use, man? Harsh language?
All right, so we talked about the trailer when it dropped, I think back in fucking like July already. Time flies.
It does. Damn.
We talked about the trailer for Halloween Ends, or the teaser. Halloween Ends marks the third and hopefully, allegedly, final of the David Gordon Green Halloween trilogy. It comes out October 14th, so we are now officially less than a month away on that. And seemingly out of nowhere and for no good reason, Blumhouse have just dropped fucking bombs on the Halloween and like horror movie fandom.
It's Halloween. We're gonna have a good time tonight.
Boogeyman is coming. You're gonna get, you're gonna get, you're gonna get.
This past week or so, they've released a bunch of TV spots, a bunch of images from the production. They released like a 4 or 5 minute like behind the scenes thing, which is very odd.
Yeah.
Because it's
weird.
Well, and the thing that's weird about it is there's a lot of like footage that they've shown, and a lot of it is like very geared in like the sort of action direction, making me think this is like a lot of third act footage. You know, third act of the film being like the climactic stuff where like the fucking fight comes and like all the shit happens.
Yeah.
And it surprises me that they would show a lot of that stuff. Only reason they would do so is if like they just kind of don't care, and if they kind of just want to like get this over with at this point.
Yeah.
Which seems a little bizarre because the 2018 Halloween made a lot of money. Halloween Kills, I don't know how much it made, but it definitely did not get like praise as far as I could tell. So I don't know. The other thing is they might be trying to play a little bit of the fucking Kevin Feige game, where he releases for like Feige will make trailers that show stuff in an Avengers movie that's literally not even in the film, just to throw people off the trail. Now I can't imagine that they would go to those.
I don't think they're that
lanes.
big brained and like, yeah, they're not really that committed to the cause, it seems.
Right, but here's the thing. Let me moisturize my throat before
Drinking
I get
tap
into
water?
this.
Or
Fucking tap
Pause
water.
for effect.
Tap water, Marvin. What the fuck?
I thought New York had a good tap water.
If we got that good water, but I don't drink fucking tap, Marvin. So, when the teaser first dropped, a lot of stuff, a lot of theories started to pop up, as they do.
Right.
And then there were some apparent leaks that came out. By the way, spoilers, folks. I know this isn't. We haven't seen anything yet, but if you don't want to fucking know anything, I guess fucking go away. But potential spoilers. Anyway, so there were some leaks that apparently came out, some synopses and things like that, and it was seeming to be the case that this movie is going to have a copycat killer. We know that the movie takes place 4 years after the events of Halloween Kills. Halloween Kills and Halloween 2018 happen on the same night when Michael makes his return. And this one is 4 years after that. Now, Halloween Kills, Marvin, I know you haven't seen it, but it ends on a pretty crazy cliffhanger where Michael kills our main character's daughter. And then the movie just fucking ends. You're like, oh shit, like where are we going with this one?
Yeah.
And the thing is now that all this stuff that's being released seems to corroborate everybody's theory that we have a copycat killer.
And why is that such a big deal?
Well,
like a slap in the face.
Well,
to the fans?
yes. People don't come to these movies to see not Michael Myers, Marvin.
Yeah, that makes sense. I don't want to see somebody cosplaying as the guy. I want to see the
Shake.
guy.
Yeah. So it's funny because, you know, I've talked to you guys a lot. I spend a lot of time in like Halloween fandom, like community forums and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And a lot of people, it's like people are treating this like they got punched in the face by their spouse. Like they can't accept it. They're just like, yeah, but maybe, listen, maybe this is just like, maybe they're fucking trying to like tease us or throw it. Oh, yeah. They're
Cope.
sucking down that copium. And I'm sitting here like, guys, enough. Let's just accept it. This is going to be a copycat killer.
Yeah.
So,
Is it?
I mean, yes.
If
Yeah.
it's gonna be shit anyway, who cares, right? If it's
You're
a
100%
copycat,
sure
you
of
know,
that.
whatever. It's gonna
Listen.
be shit regardless if it was a copycat, if it's the real guy.
Dusty's challenging me, so let me take a moment to crush him. So, first of all, the whole reason this all came up initially was because there is a new person in this movie.
Yes. Mhm.
And
Corey Cunningham, played by Rohan Campbell.
yes. And you know as well as I do, whenever there's like a newcomer to something, you can fucking bet your ass that they're the killer, okay? In any mystery or horror or anything. Even, and not just newcomer, if there's a movie that comes out that's like a mystery movie and it's got like a fucking big cast person, like a big actor, and they have seemingly no other role in the movie, like they're the fucking killer. Like that's the twist.
True.
Easiest way
That's
to figure that
plausible.
shit out. But there are scenes now, which is why I think it's so crazy that they've released all this spoilery, these TV spots and set photos and stuff like that. There are several scenes of Michael Myers where the guy's got a fucking ring on his pinky. Michael Myers don't wear pinky rings, Dusty. And
It's possible there is a copycat killer, but it's also very plausible that he's not the only killer.
Oh shit.
So what you could have here, because all right, so I'm reading something from Bloody Disgusting here,
mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
And what it says is, but when a young man, Corey Cunningham, played by Rohan Campbell, is accused of killing a boy he was babysitting,
Mm-hmm.
it ignites a cascade of violence and terror that will force Lori to finally confront the evil she can't control once and for all.
Yep.
Now, it also says that after 45 years, the most acclaimed revered horror franchise in film history reached its epic, terrifying conclusion. Only one of them will survive. So it makes you believe that, yes, there might be somebody who's copycatting Michael out there, but that also, like 4 years after, he could still show up and it could be two dangers.
Well,
so we really, like, you could speculate, but you don't know,
Well,
right?
well, let
I'm
me
calling it now. Michael's gonna kill the copycat killer.
Well,
in
let
the
me
movie.
That's what I
let me
guess.
provide
That'd
you
be
with a little bit
great.
of context because David Gordon Green, in an interview, said that where we catch up to Michael in this movie, he's been in hiding for 4 years, and he literally says, David Gordon Green, I could show you the clip. He says Michael's living. He said he's scurried away, and he's like basically waiting to die, like he's living in the sewers, like an animal, like a wounded animal running into the woods waiting to die.
Shutting it up.
And he says that Michael, I forget his exact verbiage, but he meets a what would you call somebody you work with? What's the word for that?
Coworker.
Not a coworker.
Scumbag. Asshole. I don't
Colleague.
know.
Colleague is the word.
colleague.
David Gordon Green says Michael meets a colleague.
Mm.
So
Mm.
Somebody. that
Oh, a little
admires his work.
protege.
yes.
Yeah.
So the running
Oh,
So the running theory is that Corey is a little bit fucked up, is copycatting Michael, and as he's doing these killings, it's sort of fucking power and leveling up Michael for the final showdown. I don't know how much of that is true,
Mm.
but I am fairly convinced Corey is our copycat killer in this movie. And what I think the plan would be, the only reason you would do something like that is so that way you could quote unquote end this bullshit. But
Well, this is the end of the Laurie Strode arc.
yes, and if you're ending the Laurie Strode arc, you have to end the Michael Myers arc. You're not gonna have a fucking movie where Michael's like fucking 90 years old killing
Sure.
people.
That's fair. Yeah.
So I think this is his wheelchair. Fucking
Yeah. I mean, the end of this article reads like this,
That
Dan.
would be amazing.
Nick Castle,
Yeah.
the original Michael Myers, had recently noted that Halloween Ends will be a quote-unquote surprising conclusion to David Gordon Green's trilogy.
Yeah.
While makeup effects artist Chris Nelson similarly teased that the third installment in the trilogy is quote-unquote weird and different. And John Carpenter also called the new movie a departure in a recent interview. So it sounds like these guys
Listen,
pretty much know what's going to happen,
yeah.
and they're trying to prepare us for this isn't really what we're expecting, but that doesn't mean it's going to be bad per se. Although given the previous two entrances into this trilogy,
Yeah.
you could argue that it will probably be a little bit of a letdown.
Please let me be clear. I'm not saying any of this means the movie's going to be bad. It could work. It could be good if there's like great shots, like Halloween-y type shots and lighting and mood in the movie. It could play and be fine. That's not what I'm saying at all. But also what you said, what you quoted John Carpenter saying, I know John Carpenter, not fucking personally, obviously, but like I know his demeanor. That's his like very nice way of saying it's a departure, meaning like it's fucking off the rails,
fucked his
batshit
allure
crazy.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
100% his
off
way
the
of saying
rails.
that. Yeah. So that's that. But I think this is going to serve as a way to, as I said, end this Laurie saga, if you will, and usher in the potential future of the Halloween franchise with a killer, just not Michael Myers as the killer.
Yeah.
Because unless you want to make him immortal, there's not much that makes sense. And listen,
It's a weird, it's kind of weird. Like the first two movies took place on the same night, right?
yes.
Okay. And this one is 4 years later, where at the end of the last movie, there was no resolution, but now she's basically not worried about it. She's given up thinking about him and she's moved on with her life.
Right.
But
Yeah, does that work?
She's numb, dude. She's
well, yeah, you could.
PTSD.
Yeah, well, that's the whole premise of the 2018 one, is that she is a woman with PTSD. She's a survivor of
right.
a
But they're all about her being prepared for Michael. The first two.
Yeah.
This one's like, I've moved on.
Yeah.
Whatever.
right. According to the,
She's accepted death.
plots
She's
on this.
she's evolved.
I mean, listen, if
We
he's
can't
killed
even
her,
fathom.
he's killed her daughter. It seems like. I know you didn't see the second. I don't know if you saw even 2018 one, Marvin, but
I did not. Nope.
essentially at the end of the last one, there was this the town goes berserk in some weird, like, COVID cultural fucking like dialogue message. The fucking town mobs up and goes after him.
Oh.
And he's
Yep.
he's like stabbed and shot and battered and
Yeah.
beaten. He still kills everyone in the street.
Yeah. They mob up and beat the shit out of him. And then he's
Yeah.
just lying there and they're all standing around and he gets up and kills them all.
And this is a 60-year-old man, by the way. And he just fucking walks away like nothing happened, and then just appears in a bedroom behind Laurie's daughter and fucking stabs her in this really like dramatic slow motion moment.
Wow,
What the
a
fuck even
legend.
was that movie? I gotta rewatch.
No.
We gotta
What
watch
a
the three.
fucking legend. When do
We
old
were
men,
so mad
so-
at that movie when we watched it.
when do old men lose the old men's strength? That's when Michael should die. Like what, about 65?
Well,
Yeah, probably.
I mentioned this when I've probably mentioned this a dozen times, but the original intent that John Carpenter had for this character was that he wasn't supernatural, but he wasn't exactly human either. I've mentioned that he's just a force, right?
Right.
We don't know what drives him. We don't know what his backstory is. Minus the little backstory we get of him killing his sister. But we don't know why he does the things he does. We don't know why he's become infatuated with Laurie in the original Halloween. He just does stuff. And then at the end of the movie, he gets fucking shot off a balcony. Loomis looks over and says, well, he doesn't say it. He has the look on his face of like, oh, I knew this would happen. And that's the end of the fucking movie. And the whole idea was to leave you with this like fucking just fear that he's out there somewhere still.
Mhm.
But in 2018's Halloween, the explanation was, oh yeah, no, he just like scurried off and got caught by the cops like a few minutes later and was put in a mental institution. So when I'm sitting here and I'm hearing David Gordon Green be
Oh,
like, this
God.
is the true sequel to John Carpenter's vision. I don't know what the fuck he's talking about, because this is not the true vision at all. If you really wanted to stay faithful to John Carpenter's original vision, you wouldn't even have Michael Myers in a movie all these years later. You had a good concept with dealing with Laurie's trauma, because that's not something that you ever really get to deal with or see in a horror movie. You know, the Laurie Strode, the character, arguably coined the phrase "the final girl," which is like the final survivor of a slasher film. She's arguably the first. And, you know, you never really get to see those characters live out the rest of their lives after surviving these fucking incidents of being chased by dream killers and psychos and all this shit. So
Right.
I think that was a really interesting concept
That is
for a
cool, yeah.
movie 40 years later. Like, here's a woman who is like you said, she is fucking broken. She's lived with this for her whole life, tried to move on, tried to have a kid, fucked up her kid's life, fucked up her grandkids' lives. Her family's disjointed and fractured because of it. All her relationships are fucked up. She spent her life fucking arming herself and militarizing herself to like prepare for his potential return someday. And every year it's the same thing. Halloween night comes around and she's fucking locked and ready to go, and he never shows up.
Right.
That would have made for such a compelling and interesting like psychological thriller movie that Michael Myers would never have to have even appeared in. But as I said in the beginning of this, like, unfortunately, fans are very short-sighted and they want Michael Myers.
Mm.
And what happens when you have Michael Myers in a film that comes out in 2018? Well, you have to take the slasher genre and make it, you know, make sense for modern audiences. And you got to give him the blood and you got to give him the gore and
Right.
all the
Mhm.
stuff that wasn't there in the original 78 film, which made it so good in the first place.
You don't have to.
Well, they chose to.
They feel a need to,
Right.
which is very different.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. But again, all that being said, I wasn't a huge fan of Halloween 2018. I thought it was like okay as a movie, not really great as a Halloween movie in my opinion. Halloween Kills was just like completely fucking off the rails, batshit crazy. There was like some good stuff in that movie, but for the most
Yeah.
part, not great.
Yeah, it was a dumpster fire.
I mean, the first act of the movie wasn't terrible.
It had some interesting parts as far as like lore and
Yeah.
story, but I mean, it kicked off like they're in the bar.
Mhm.
You know, you get out to the parking lot and the whole shit kicks.
Yeah.
off. It's-
And so this one, you know, listen, I mean, I don't have very high hopes for it. I'm not excited for it. I'm going to watch it as a Halloween fan and as the host of a movie review podcast, but
so we're gonna review bomb this, is what you're saying.
we're going to review it for sure. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. I just, again, the premise, I didn't mean to go off on a rant, but the premise of this conversation right here is that I just think it's interesting that they've revealed all this stuff, or revealed. Seems pretty clear to me that this all but confirms the theories that there is a second killer in this. Also, I didn't mention in some of the other shots, like in Halloween Kills or in 2018, he gets his fucking fingers cut off. And in Halloween Kills, they're wrapped up. He's missing these two fingers, his ring finger and his pinky. And some of the shots in this one, not only does he have a pinky ring on one of his hands, but his other hands, he's fully got his fingers back. So it's either somebody else or this dude's fucking got some genetic mutation.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm calling it now. Corey Cunningham is a fucking is a killer.
Yep.
And I don't know. I mean, we'll see where the story goes. But not super excited for it.
Yeah.
But
I have a fear that this is going to end like that Denzel movie, Fallen,
oh yeah.
where the spirit of the serial killer just transfers to another person, and that's how they're going to
Oh,
continue
no.
the Halloween Michael Myers story. Is
Well,
he's dead now, but
yeah, his spirit.
he's
lives
onto
on.
this other killer, so you know,
That's
and
terrible.
the hate fuels him. So
That's a
That's
great
like
movie.
Chucky,
Kill
though.
Evil.
That's like Chucky, right? Like
is a great movie.
Chucky's trying to put his soul into the.
Yeah,
yes,
that's
in
what
the real body.
That's what Chucky's trying to do. But you just made a really good point. That was the tag of Halloween Kills. You can't kill evil.
Right.
So they could for sure like run with that premise. And, you know, honestly, like David Gordon Green and Danny McBride, they said all their bullshit of like, oh, the other sequels were like terrible and that's why we're making this. But there is precedence for what you just said in the Halloween franchise. in Halloween 4, 5, 6, and Halloween 4, 5, and 6, they follow a theme where we find out Michael has actually been cursed with a pagan thing called the Curse of Thorn, where the chosen child who gets cursed with this has to kill their bloodline. And that was the reason for Michael wanting to kill
Right.
Laurie, who in these sequels was his sister, Judith, who he kills when he's a child, and then his niece in Halloween 4 and 5, and then her fucking child. So there is precedence for this type of dumb bullshit. You're better than this, David Gordon Green. Please don't fucking do that to us, okay? I'd rather have a copycat than that. I mean, a copycat's plausible, right? But
Yeah.
either way, these movies shouldn't exist. Just be happy. I don't know what to say why people can't just be happy. Like, you did the one thing back in the 1970s. It was fucking great. It was a pop culture
Leave
icon.
It's money. They can't leave money on the table.
Like, just have the thing and enjoy it.
It's getting rebooted in 5 years, Dan.
Of course. Yeah. Right. But yeah, I don't know, folks. Let us know what you think of all this shit, all this content dumping from Blumhouse, the TV spots. What are your theories for Halloween Ends? Let us know. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, please consider doing so. And we'll catch you in the next one.
See ya.
Asta.